Last year, for the Switch's 6th anniversary, I decided to rank each of the games I owned for the system, posting them on my personal Discord, link in description. Now, celebrating the 7th anniversary of the Switch and my birthday, I'll be doing it again. For this list, I have every single game I've bought or received for the system, as well as a collection of freeware that I've sunk a significant amount of time into. And yeah, obviously this is my opinion. If you like any of the games I consider bad, just know that I've made a momentary lapse in my judgment regarding that game in particular, and it's actually my number one. Okay, I'll stop rambling, because this video is already gonna end up pretty damn long. I'm Ham, and this is my ranking of 39 Switch games. Let's go. Sonic Forces presents itself as a gritty and edgy Sonic game featuring so many fan-favorite characters. What is it actually? It's an auto-runner with less control than a mobile game, the worst 3D platforming I've ever seen, and the greatest bastardization of the classic formula since the Game Gear version. I haven't played a lot of Sonic games, but based on the ones I have, I don't think I will again. I paid full price for this unfinished, buggy mess, and it more than deserves the bottom spot. But hey, at least I could make the Hamburger Lord Cat in the character creator. That's something. If only they kept Sonic's arms blue. Ha 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 ha! I was excited about this one too. Not much to say about this piece of duty, except that it killed my interest in the Pokemon series permanently, and I haven't picked up anything after that point. The punk song without the voice acting really sums up how I feel about that game. Worst part is, I pre-ordered the $30 DLC expecting to love this game, and I never even bothered to play it. It's agonizingly slow, painfully easy, and mind-numbingly generic. I may have accidentally done a Nuzlocke with how easy this was. But, to give it credit, if I got Pokemon Shield instead, it would have ranked lower than Sonic Forces. Am I right? Okay, quick update, because this literally just got announced as I'm recording this. Pokemon Legends Z looks good. I might buy that one. So, funny story. I bought this when the Switch first came out because it was $8 on the eShop, and because, you know, it's Mario. It's completely irrelevant due to Nintendo Switch Online. The game in general doesn't really hold up in the year of our Lord, 2013. As painful as it is to rank a fishing game so low, but yeah, when your localization includes spelling errors in the first 10 minutes of the game, there's not really any excuse. Forced motion controls always sting, and the fishing rod peripheral doesn't even work in the game. I would have given it a pass, but motion controls are completely necessary to even progress in the game. Still, a broken buggy mess is still fishing, and that's worth something. Next in the ranking is PMDR and B RTDX. Of course it is. PMSD on the 3DS is, like, actually one of my favorite games of all time. That one really means a lot to me personally. So when I saw the series was coming to Switch, oh, I was hyped. But then I played it, and it didn't really click with me. It's slow and boring, pretty intense difficulty spike at some point, and I just stopped playing. I still don't know why they didn't just remake Explorers of Sky. Okay, first of my really kind of hot takes here, but this version of Mario Maker has absolutely nothing on the original, which was fire. There's two concrete reasons I feel this way, and one abstract reason I dislike this sequel. First, no amiibo costume. That hurts, because my favorite part of the original was trying to collect all the costumes, and like, trying to recreate the source games of the costumes in Mario Maker. That was fun. Now I can't do that anymore. And number two, Level Creator is like actually cancer on Switch. That's to be expected. It's originally a Wii U game, but the screen is so tiny on the handheld and so finicky in the TV mode, it's not even worth bothering. And for the abstract reason, because Nintendo added like literally everything to the game, all the creations are a lot less impressive now. Some of the most popular courses and videos from the original were finding impressive ways to bend the limitations of the game, which that's just not present anymore. The magic of Mario Maker is gone. I really have nothing to say about this except, man, the Switch's launch did not have anything. It's not bad. I had a fun time playing this one with my sister, but there's just no replay value and it's over pretty quick. The only people who really cared about this one because it was the only thing to play at launch besides Zelda. And also this game is the reason I started evading taxes. I will not elaborate on this. Yeah, it really shouldn't be a surprise this one's so low. The first Kirby game on a console always, blows, and yeah, this keeps with the tradition. It has nothing new to the Kirby formula, and the devs couldn't even be bothered to finish it on time, so they had to finish it with free updates. And before anyone asks, no, I didn't play Forgotten Land. You might notice a theme, or if I think the first game is bad, I tend not to play the second, no matter how good people say it is. You guys already know about the resentment for this game, and yeah, it's all true. Even coming from a guy who loved 9 and Island Tour, which are normally considered bad Mario parties, I can tell this one sucks. It's funny how this one has been entirely replaced with Superstars. I had a way longer write-up to talk about this game, but I'm for the sake of time and me not going insane. Simple answer. It's an incredibly disappointing follow-up to the first game. Getting rid of the grid makes for less strategic gameplay, all the weapons are less interesting, and fully cutting secondary weapons hurts. The menus and hub worlds are absolutely filled with that Ubisoft gank. Why do I want to make an Ubisoft account to play Mario and Rabbids? But the worst part about this game is not the gameplay, which is still it's serviceable. It's the characters. I have a question. Not for Ubisoft, but for God. Why do the Rabbids speak in this game? They're so annoying. And not in a okay way like the first game. Look at this thing. Look at it. Tell me it's capable of intelligent thought. Say it to my face.
Keeping it 100. Lame-o. Pain. Sweet. Ha! Do-over.
It's super awkward when the Rabbids of all characters speak in full sentences, but the Mario characters just get text boxes. If that, Mario and Luigi don't even talk. And that's not even getting into these new character designs. Yuck! Get this DeviantArt-looking abominations out of here. Powerful, gripping, a true master of indie game expression. Tough as nails with a great soundtrack. I got it for sale on the eShop, and I haven't regretted it since. This game has left such an impact on me, and has more content for its cheap price than so much of the list so far. I love Clock Simulator! Game of the Year! This one I didn't really dislike per se, but there's not really a lot of content in it. You're getting a classic Mega Man game when you buy this, but classic Mega Man doesn't really hold up that well in the year of our Lord 2013. However, the core gameplay is still fun. It could be better, but I don't really have strong opinions on this one. I haven't played it. And because I can't get more neutral than not playing something, this is the halfway point of quality. Everything before this is on the bad end of the spectrum, everything after this is on the good end of the spectrum. As much as I like to bitch and moan about the Switch, there's more good than there is bad. I played the first level of this, I thought, oh, this doesn't really run, and I haven't played it since because I don't want my experience with the game to be bad. It's above Cabela's because I actually know this one's a good game. This game is notable for having the second stupidest title in this list, aside from PMD R&B RTDX, doing irreparable damage to the internet, a remake of a boring-ass game that is still boring, and I had an alright time playing this with a friend, but nothing really stuck. And as of 2014, there's an actual Mario platformer on the system. So, this is an interesting inclusion on this list, but I figured I played it enough on Switch around 2019 to include. That being said, I'm nowhere near as qualified to talk about the game, so around the middle it goes. I haven't played in a while either, so yeah, whatever. I was really hyped for this at first, until I realized there's not a lot to improve on based on the original, and I was right. It has an RPG-esque mode where each character has different power-ups and new characters and a new story mode. That kind of sucks, but that's it. The game feels more clunky, which is an immediate turn-off in like a competitive-oriented game like this. They also changed the outfits, and I think pitched up the voices of some characters, and now they're a lot more annoying. And no one cares about the new mode because the versus and swap are already the tournament standards. I haven't mentioned the soundtrack in any of my previous reviews, because it's like too easy praise to give, but this is the first game with an actively bad soundtrack. Like, listen to this. I rate this as slightly good because the core gameplay is still pretty fire, and Sonic is in it too, but it's not the best. I never got super into Undertale like some other people, but I could recognize it as a very good and influential indie game. Maybe most influential of the modern era. I don't spend too much time in the underground, but I enjoyed what I did. It's an alright game. 99 is really excellent for a freeware title, and you guys know I love me some Tetris. It's no wonder Nintendo took the formula to a bunch of other games after this, but this is the only one I put any substantial time into. And yes, I have gotten an Invictus Maximus once. Another opinion I'll probably get burned at the stake for, Nintendo fans really tend to treat this one like the second coming of Christ. I'll keep this brief. I don't really get the hype behind this game. So many people call this, oh, it's the best platformer ever made, and I don't know why. It's an alright game with clunky controls and silly Donkey Kong. Maybe it's because I'm not super into the game, but it doesn't quite click with me. Oh, Three Houses. What a tumultuous relation we have had. In my Byleth videos, I mentioned enjoying the game, and I do, but that seems to be a controversial opinion. Weebs will say it's a masterpiece, normal people say it's anime slop, and I say it's good. It's just good. Best part is obviously the strategy aspect, although admittedly the game is super easy and Byleth sweeps the entire time. Characters are cringe and mostly 2D, but even after the 40-hour campaign, I admittedly found a soft spot for all of them, even the bad ones. I chose Black Eagles for my playthrough, and my favorite character is Petra, if anyone's interested. Damn, what a glow-up! Even as a Mario Party 9 and Island Tour fan, I can recognize how good of a game this is, and with a real online mode and minigames, I'm a happy camper. Admittedly, I haven't played it that much, and the roster could be a lot bigger, but it's a good game nonetheless. It's Mario Kart. Absolutely nothing to dislike about it, I just don't play it that often. And no, I didn't get the DLC, although I am considering it. 2024 ham here, and I did end up getting the DLC. Remember, a lot of these reviews were written last year. And although the DLC started kind of bad, it came around near the end, and yeah, this is without a doubt the peak Mario game for the next one. I said most of what I wanted to say about this game in my whole monologue about Sparks of Hope, but this is a good, yet somewhat flawed strategy game. The core gameplay of setting up massive combos is very fun, and all the effects you can use make strategy pretty deep. And like I said, love me some strategy. Who expected the crossover with the video game equivalent to the Minions would be so good? How is this the only licensed game I own on my system? It's pretty weird. Anyway, I'm a pretty big JoJo fan, so when I got this as a gift, I was pretty stoked. Even though I've heard negatives about the game, like no rollback netcode and stuff, I wasn't expecting to like it going in. I'm not a big fan of fighting games in general. It's actually super fun. I've had a great time learning all the combos, game feels smooth as butter, and all the little details and Easter eggs are great. For my first actual real fighting game, I'm having a great time playing it. Maybe it's because the Switch player base isn't that good. Age of Calamity is age for any Zelda fan. Unlike the Three Houses Warriors demo, this felt super satisfying to play, and every character has a different weapon and playstyle to make them unique. Like, both Rivali and Teba, two Rito that use bows, have completely different playstyles, and I love it. Teba's a machine gun, it's so funny. The only downsides come from it not actually being canon, and side quests can get pretty tedious, and Hetsu sucks really bad. And there's not a lot of replayability to it, but I do recommend the game. I think it's good. I hold a lot of respect for New Horizons, because a very significant part of my online persona is based on a certain funny fish from that game. I've never been into chill games without a proper goal, but even now I can realize how great this game is. I've had no reason to play it though after fully upgrading my cat house and catching all the fish, and that's okay. I did enjoy the time I spent playing. There's also my personal cutoff from what would be considered a good game to what would be considered a great game. So everything after this point is pretty dang good. Mario Wonder is an incredibly refreshing game to play. I've been off platformers for a while, and this is the first one that really hooked me. It's very fun and cinematic. It knows how to create big scenes and set pieces, and it utilizes that well to create very memorable levels. It's always something new. In particular, I'd like to call attention to how well the music is integrated into the levels. And it's overall really fun to just run and jump around, and that's the spirit of Mario. Best compliment I could give this is it's polished to a T. And that's a quality sorely lacking in a lot of Nintendo's most recent games. You could tell this one had a lot of time in the oven. Is this my favorite 2D platformer ever? I'm not really experienced in the field, so I don't know, but overall, it's a very solid game. Apollo Justice Trilogy. I picked this one up very recently, and I'm not very far into it, but the quality of the remasters is great so far, definitely up to par with the original trilogy. I think the general consensus is that the second trilogy of games is worse than the first, but series as a whole, so we'll see after I play the game more. On the topic of the original trilogy, despite these being 20-year-old games, they hold up excellently. The trilogy is such a great price for the 3 games, and it's a great story. The characters are super iconic, the writing is very personable, and it's over the top, and it's funny. There's a good reason this game left such an impact in the gaming world, and I'm super glad I picked it up. This series has become one of my all-time favorites because I picked this game up on the Switch. PPT is probably one of my most, this game is mid, but I love it anyway, picks on my list. And if you disagree, well, make your own dang ranking. I get to do what I want. I've put so many hours into this game, and it's got so much charm and personality, and a pretty good story mode, which I 3-starred. Yeah, it's awesome. I 100% of this game, by the way. I was also ranked top 200 in Illinois for a while, which is definitely pretty fun. I'm a Tetris guy at heart, but I still had a lot of fun learning Puyo, and the way they mix is always very impressive. Overall, I love it, and I really highly recommend this game. Xenoblade is one of my favorite RPGs I've ever played. Great plot, fun gameplay, and this dude, really, what more could you want? Even if you're afraid of getting into JRPGs, this one is great for introducing the genre. My friend lent me this copy originally, and he's a much bigger Xenohead than me, so he's gonna say a few words about this game. Take it away.
So you're telling me they localized some random Japanese Wii game in 2012 and now people like me won't shut up about cat girls and robots being the peak of character writing? Yes, and you too may understand this for the low price of 50 plus hours of one of the greatest video game stories ever crafted. Xenoblade Chronicles is not only arguably the greatest JRPG, nay, video game of all time, but Definitive Edition gives you character models that you can actually take seriously. And what a roster of character models it is to look at. We got the quirky protagonist Shulk, the beefy best friend Ryan, the lovable best girl Fiora, the wise mentor Dunban, Sharla, the graceful and noble Melia, and of course, the greatest character of all time, Hero-Pon Ricky. It's not only goofy-ah friends doing goofy-ah things though, you'll get to see these characters develop through a narrative of titanic proportions. See what I did there? Because the story takes place on Titans. Titanic? Laugh. And it's all tied together with a complex and satisfying combat system. If you're sick of turn-based RPGs, then the MMO action style is just what you need. The different Monado arts are also just so much fun to use. She really Xeno on my blade till I Monado bust her. Plus they're accompanied by one of the best soundtracks to grace the human ear. If you love great storytelling, compelling characters, intricate world building, satisfying combat, and peak music, you should Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition yourself now. And just think, you have the whole rest of the Xenoblade series, except X, waiting for you right on the Nintendo Switch once you fall in love with Definitive Edition. The series is best experienced by playing Xenoblade 1 first after all. I don't know what the Hamburger Lord has told you, but Xenoblade 2 and 3 are just as, if not more amazing than the first game. So what are you waiting for? Become a Xenoblade fan. That's not a request, that's a threat. Do it now.
So initially I was super positive about this game, and I still think it's very fun. But once Splatoon 3 came out, I realized I don't really care as much about this series than I thought I did. Maybe it's because I can't play games online that often, and I decided not to pick it up because it seemed a bit try-hardy. I don't know. But yeah, I still really like Splatoon 2. And Octo Expansion is still probably one of the best DLCs of any game ever made, so yeah, Splatoon 2 slaps. Odyssey isn't quite top 5 like everyone says, but it's undeniably excellent. This is another situation where I don't have much new to say about this game given how popular it is, but I love what everyone else does. Tight platforming, a lot of charms, and brilliant locations are the clear highlights. 2024 update, so I'm ranking this one above Mario Wonder. Both are great games, no doubt, but Odyssey has a lot more of that oomph to me. Both are basically the peak of what they set out to do, but Odyssey does more, so I place it higher. Pray forgive the discourtesy of ranking this spin-off above the original game. And for conducting the synopsis in the prose of Von Zykes. Although wine gets better with age, I must say, this new interpretation of the AA format is simply exquisite. Taking place 100 years prior to the DL6 incident, the culture clash between our protagonists and their unfortunate setting is a marvel to behold. It goes without saying that the characters and story are divine, as expected from the series. One aspect I find myself enjoying is the lack of any ghost and spirit drivel, which undermined my enjoyment of the original. The characters in this game are loving homages to their contemporary pieces. This is complemented by glorious 3D animation and new gameplay mechanics, enhancing the original formula. My esteemed colleagues, this experience comes highly recommended. I'm not leaving that in. This one I also had a really long write-up for, but I'm cutting it down because there could only be so much anime game in one video. But this one is placed a lot higher than I'm sure anyone would have expected, which is funny because...
Get to the f***ing Xeno
Oh, okay, I'll keep it brief. This one really struck a personal chord with me, from the character relations to the world building, especially how it's themed around music and how music can bring people together. That speaks for me. And I'm pretty sure this is the only video game I've ever tried at. I know, I'm a wuss. If you've played it, you know why. It's a tough game to recommend, and you gotta play the other Xenoblade games before this, but I won't ever forget this experience. What can I say about Breath of the Wild that hasn't already been said? This is a bit of a hot take, but I prefer the open world style more than the traditional Zelda gameplay. Although I do hope they go back to that style for the next one. It's really a perfect video game, if you ignore the fact that 2 others rank higher than it on this list. The level of do whatever the heck you want is unprecedented. This will always be the first thing I think of whenever someone brings up the Switch, and it definitely holds a place in many gamers' hearts. Ultimate is always a game I've loved. This is my most played title on the Switch, and I've really squeezed every last drop I could out of it. All the spirits, 100%ed everything. Lots of custom stages, and as of this year, getting into the competitive scene. It's the game that keeps on giving, and I've learned so much this year trying to get better at the game. Huge thanks to everyone in my college's Smash Bros. Club for helping me on this journey. I don't have anything big or sappy to say like the other ones, but it's an insane crossover and a marvelous fighting game, with one small blemish. And surprisingly enough, my number 1 is Tears of the Kingdom. I'm a bit shocked too. It doesn't feel as grandiose as the others, but the placement makes sense. I consider Breath of the Wild to be the perfect video game, and this improves on perfection. The amount of stuff it adds is unreal, and it's all additive. It takes nothing away from the original. The feeling of diving into the depths for the first time is indescribable. The contraptions are hilarious. The climax is breathtaking. Tulin. This is Tears of the Kingdom. And that's it! Sorry for getting a bit sappy near the end, but some of these games hold a very special place in my heart. This little system did alright for itself against all odds. And as the first episode of my Week of Ham, I'm very excited to share what I have in store for the other days. It's a very special week for me, and I hope you could join me in celebrating. I'll catch you guys later.